My name is John, and I used to be an Uber Eats driver. The job wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills. On a frigid night, with heavy snow blanketing the streets, my phone screen flickered. A new order. The address was in a remote, secluded area, and the payout was double the usual fare. Just one more, I told myself, and then I'll go home. It wasn't just my last delivery. I drove through the snowy darkness, the only car on the desolate roads. My headlights cut through the gloom, illuminating a large, dilapidated mansion. It stood isolated among bare, skeletal trees. A chilling feeling, not from the cold, but from something unseen, seeped into my bones. I saw a yellowed piece of paper taped to the front door, scrawled in what looked like dried blood were the words, "Do not knock. Leave the order at the garage gate. Do not look back. Leave immediately." I shivered but followed the instructions. As I placed the order at the garage, a man emerged from the shadows. He wore a dark coat and a hood that hid his face. He pointed to the package, then lunged and grabbed my wrist. "Follow me," he commanded. His hand was freezing, an icy grip that sent a jolt of terror through me. I pulled away and ran, not daring to look back. I jumped into my car and sped off, my heart pounding in my chest. I called the police immediately. They met me at the scene. After a brief investigation, an officer turned to me, his voice low. "That house has been abandoned for decades," he said. "There was a brutal murder there many years ago. A family was killed, and the perpetrator was never found." A mix of fear and curiosity welled up inside me. I had to go back. I needed to know the truth. It was an unexplainable pull, as if an invisible thread was drawing me back to that haunted house. I returned at midnight. Moonlight illuminated the shattered windows, like the empty eyes of a sleeping monster. I walked in, my footsteps echoing on the creaking wooden floorboards. The house wasn't a typical ruin. Things were strewn about, chairs were overturned. The front door slammed shut behind me. Then, a loud thud. A window I hadn't noticed was open suddenly slammed shut. I froze, my flashlight trembling in my hand. From upstairs, I heard heavy footsteps. I spun around, but no one was there. The footsteps grew closer, then stopped right behind me. I felt a cold breath on the back of my neck. I ran into another room, where a dried bloodstain was on the wall. I shined my light on it, and words appeared as if written just moments before. "Find the truth." Suddenly, an old television in the corner flickered to life. The screen was dark, then displayed the family photo from before. Their faces were distorted, their eyes pure white. In a panic, I turned to run, but the door was locked. Despair washed over me. The spirits of the murdered family appeared before me. They stared at me with empty, soulless eyes. A chilling whisper echoed through the room. A rope descended from the ceiling, and a noose tightened around my neck. I struggled, but it was no use. My flashlight fell from my hand, the final light of my life extinguishing as I collapsed to the floor. The next morning, my Uber car was found parked outside the mansion. But I was gone forever. No one knows what happened to me that night, or why I never returned. They say Christmas is a time for miracles, for warmth and togetherness. But for me, this Christmas was a curse. While my roommate was at a party, I chose to stay home. The loneliness on Christmas Eve should have been sad, but instead, it sent a shiver down my spine. To escape the feeling, I put on my coat and walked outside. Snow fell softly, blanketing the deserted streets. I went to the nearby park, where I saw a figure sitting silently on a bench. He was hunched over, his head hidden by a hood. He had no expression, no life in him, just a terrifying stillness. I just wanted to go home. But I didn't know that from that moment, he was following me. And Christmas Eve would become the worst nightmare of my life. When I got back to my apartment, I saw him standing right in front of the door. With no expression on his face, he just stared at me. Panicked, I rushed inside, slammed the door shut and locked it. My heart was pounding, but when I looked through the window, he was gone. I thought I was safe. I was wrong. I tried to calm myself, pulling out my phone to call the police. As I was talking, I looked out the window. He was still there, but this time, his face wasn't human. It was a featureless, black void. He picked up a stone and threw it hard at the window. The glass cracked. He kept throwing stones, each blow a dagger aimed at my sanity. He finally shattered the glass, and a boneless arm reached inside, gliding across the broken surface to write a message in the condensation. "I'm already inside." I screamed and backed away. The police arrived, but they found no one. They looked at me with pity, saying I must have been frightened. They left, leaving me utterly alone with my fear. I sat in my room, staring at the shattered window. Suddenly, a soft knock echoed through the silence. Knock, knock, knock. It wasn't coming from the front door. It was coming from my bedroom door. I crept toward it, but no one was there. I went back to my desk, but the knocking returned, this time from inside my closet. I knew something was in the room with me. I bolted out of the room, running down the stairs. A cold hiss filled the air. I turned back and saw the faceless face. No eyes, no nose, just a wide, gaping mouth, staring at me through the window. "Follow me," a raspy voice whispered. It wasn't a sound, but a frequency trying to possess my mind. I screamed, a guttural sound of pure terror, and collapsed to the floor. The next morning, I was found in a state of catatonic shock. I was curled up in the corner, still clutching my phone. I couldn't speak, just stared blankly into space. The police returned. They found deep claw marks on the wall, but the shattered window was back to normal. Everything was as it was. I never returned to college. The horror of that Christmas Eve has stayed with me forever. The faceless man didn't kill me. He possessed my soul, leaving me an empty shell, just like him. And my story became a warning. Never be alone. And never believe what you see, because there are things that exist that you can't touch. Yeah. It's for all.